It's time to get the association in action. I'm Donnie, he's Davis. Let's have some fun tonight. A six-pack on deck tonight, and we start out west. The Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns are going to line up. The FanDuel Sportsbook here, Davis, opened this number as Phoenix as a favorite at -4. We've now seen that shift up to -5 here as a favorite for the Phoenix Suns. A total that opened up at 243.5 and now seeing that rise currently to 245.5. The Kings and the Suns battle tonight. What are we looking at tonight from this game, Davis?
You know, the Clippers are getting most of the attention in the Western Conference in terms of a team that is steaming up the standings, and it's kind of obfuscating what the Phoenix Suns have been doing. They are absolutely crushing it since they started to pay all of their guys. They're once they all got healthy. Since January 8th, they have only lost 4 times. One of them was a really narrow one to Indiana. Their last game was a very narrow 1-point loss to the Golden State Warriors. They've had 3 days off here in between. The only guy who's not healthy in their entire rotation is Damian Lee, who, I don't know if we're going to end up seeing him play this year. And one of the concerns that we had about the Phoenix Suns was these dudes love to take mid-range jump shots, right? Beal likes to take mid-rangers. Booker likes to take mid-rangers. Kevin Durant is like the best mid-range shooter in NBA history. And you're always a little bit worried, like, what is that going to do to you when that's your shot diet? And the thing that the Suns have done is they've been really impressive making three-pointers. They have the 4th best three-point percentage as a team. I think this is a horrible matchup, honestly, for the Sacramento Kings. I kind of am in the same spot. I did take the Clippers last night, but I'm kind of in the same spot with the Clippers and the Suns, where when they're fully healthy, when they have all their dudes, when the 3-star method is working, I'm not going against them. The Suns, they're playing, all these bit guys. Grayson Allen's playing 33 minutes a night, but Durant is also a terrible cover for Sabonis, just thinking about him having to chase Durant out to the 3-point range, and Keegan Murray's giving up 7 inches to Durant in this matchup. I like the Suns -5 here quite a bit.
Take a look at those anticipated starting lineups tonight for both of these teams. Booker, Beal, Allen, Durant, and Nurkic here. So full go here for those Phoenix Suns. And take a look at Fox, Herter, Barnes, Murray, and Sabonis here for the Kings. Should be a fun game. A lot of points certainly anticipated in that one. Let's head back to the East Coast. OKC! Davis' squad matching up against the Orlando Magic. If we see the opening number here at the FanDuel Sportsbook, that was listed at -2.5 as a road favorite for OKC. We still see that shaping up as the current numbers coming up at a -2.5. Total in this game, a lot of movement here. 227.5 at the opening number, Davis. We're now down to 223.5. OKC on the road. Can they get this dub as a slight road favorite here?
Yeah, I think they probably do. I mean, the Magic are sort of an interesting matchup for them, because the Magic are such a good defensive team to the detriment of their offensive abilities. They play plus defenders at pretty much every position other than Paolo Banchero. I think that Shea might have a little bit of a difficult time tonight. This is probably more of a game where we see Chet Holmgren and big Jalen Williams be more of the offensive drivers. I actually think we'll see a little bit of Chet handling the ball on the perimeter tonight, just to get Banchero away from the rim, put him in some uncomfortable positions. No team was I more disappointed at in the trade deadline than the Orlando Magic, just for the Magic to have some hope. The Magic to look at the standings and say, look, we could be a play-in team. We could be the 7th seed. There's no reason why we can't be in that spot. But what's the number one thing holding them back? Dude, they just do not have any guards. None of their guards can shoot. Suggs, Anthony, Fultz. It's just all a mess in terms of their ball handling. Very hard as a young team. This would have been a great team for just one of these veteran 32-year-old point guards. Obviously the Timberwolves are not trading Mike Conley, but a Mike Conley type would just get everything running so much better for the Magic. I would lean under here. Actually, I know the total even fell 4 points. I think the opening bettors were right, because Oklahoma City tends to play a little bit more conservatively. They slower their tempo when they're on the road. And the Magic, their best chance to win this game is to get it in the mud. So I think that's probably what they're going to try and do.
Anticipated starting lineups there for the Magic: Fultz, Suggs, Wagner, Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr., along with SGA, Giddey, Dort, Williams, and Holmgren there for OKC. We'll keep moving the needle here. The Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks Eastern Conference action, 5:05, 5:06 on the rotation. Tip time, 8 p.m. tonight. How about this? We got some line movement. The Bucks actually opened in this game, Davis, as a minus 6-point favorite at FanDuel. Now we're up to as high as 8.5, a total, which actually opened up at 229. We've seen that plummet. And the current number right now, 223 even here at this point. Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, the Bucks a favorite. Can they win by double digits, essentially, to get the cover tonight?
Yeah, I actually think this is like almost an all-world spot here for the Milwaukee Bucks. I know they're coming off the emotional win last night, and the Heat have the rest advantage. But the Heat, they got no ball handlers who are going to be active in this game. Rozier is out; he is week to week. Jimmy Butler is not with the team right now; he's on bereavement leave. Then Josh Richardson just injured his shoulder; he's going to be reevaluated in a couple weeks, and Duncan Robinson is listed as questionable. They had to call up, I do not remember his name, they had to call up a point guard from their G League affiliate to get ready for this game. But what that means is that there's going to be no off-ball Tyler Hero in this game. It's all going to be on ball for him. He's going to be the guy bringing it up. He's probably going to have to play 38, 39, 40 minutes here. And it's not that I ever doubt the Miami Heat per se. You know, it's a pretty difficult spot to be in. But this is just like, this is what you would refer to in the NBA as a schedule loss, where it's just like all your injuries piled up at the wrong time. You just come into a game at a huge disadvantage where Milwaukee is healthy. Maybe they take this. Actually, Milwaukee might even take this game tonight as a place to rest somebody. Maybe they give Brook Lopez the night off or Bobby Portis the night off. Probably not Giannis before the All-Star break. But not only do I like the Bucks money line, I like the Bucks on the spread, and I would take the over here as well, because I think the reason why the total is so low is kind of predicated on the Heat defense. But this is like a bad defensive situation for them, because if Duncan Robinson doesn't play, they're going to have to be playing some weird, funky, like 3 power forward lineups with Haywood Highsmith and Bam Adebayo having to play together. I don't think that's going to work very well for them. So I like the Bucks, and I like the over here.
Looks like that point guard, possibly Alondas Williams here, just brought up there for the Miami Heat. So good luck, Heat, there on the road, having some fun. Also, good luck to those Brooklyn Nets tonight, taking on the Boston Celtics, a monster favorite. FanDuel actually opened up this number at a minus 9.5-point favorite for Boston on the road. That came down to 8.5 points now, as we see. The total in this basketball game actually opened up at 232.5. That's now down to a 228 even live here. The Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets tonight. Again, are the Boston Celtics in line for a double-digit victory here, Davis?
I wouldn't take that number. I mean, obviously, I think the Celtics are going to win. They are also another one of these teams that's kind of just trying to limp to the finish line of the All-Star break, because Kristaps has a back contusion. He's listed as questionable for this game. And looking at the Celtics schedule, Al Horford is either not going to play tonight at Brooklyn, or he's not going to play. They're a home and home February 13th and 14th with Brooklyn. So he's going to miss one of these games. I don't know if it's going to be this one, or I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow, but Horford, just at this stage of his career, is not playing a ton of back-to-backs, which means the prominent involvement of Luke Kornet. By the way, if Kornet does end up starting this game at center, I love his points prop over it. When Kornet gets the start, he just comes in and he just plays Porzingis' position on offense. He's out there shooting 3-pointers. Like I always thought Luke Kornet got a little bit of a bad rap. I think he is a legit backup center in the NBA. If I was going to make a play on this game, it would probably be on the under, but I don't really love a side or a total here. But Kornet, if he starts, I like it. Should be posted at probably like 11.5 would be his point prop, and I would take the over.
By the way, quick sidebar here, Davis, because again, handicapping structures in the NBA, how his team starts, how they finish, what's the middle of the season. I always find it interesting, particularly in Major League Baseball. One of the things I always despised was like the Saturday, Sunday before Major League Baseball break, where everybody starts to get checked out. I got a flight to Vegas. I got a flight to the Caribbean. I got a flight to the All-Star break. Does that change your handicapping here from even a fantasy perspective here, heading close to the All-Star break for some of these guys in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. And it's also just like about knowing where a team is in the standings. Like, can the Celtics afford to rest a couple guys, and if they drop a game against Brooklyn, it's not the end of the world? Absolutely. Whereas this next game we're going to talk about, like, the Lakers would love to give LeBron and Anthony Davis an extra day off. I mean, there's nothing they would not give to be able to sit these guys out. But the Lakers are just in such a brutal spot that even against the Detroit Pistons, even against the Utah Jazz, like, these dudes are starting. These dudes are playing 38 minutes. They do, Jared Vanderbilt just got injured for the Lakers. Like, you have to account for that stuff. And the teams will actually telegraph it for you, right? Like, if a guy who just played each of the last 6 games gets listed as questionable with like knee tendonitis, that's the big one. Knee soreness, knee tendonitis is basically just like, this fella just needs the night off.
Yeah, or just give the old back spasms here. Can't argue with that at that point here, which brings us out to Crypto.com Arena on the West Coast tonight. The Detroit Pistons are going to make the trip out there to take on the Lakers at 10:30 tip time. This line opened up at FanDuel here, Davis, minus 11.5 as a favorite towards the home team, Los Angeles Lakers, and a total which actually opened up at 237. That total has risen to 241, and the line currently sits here at a live minus 10.5 here at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Are we looking at a double-digit victory for the Lakers at home tonight?
I think we are looking at a double-digit victory. I think we're also looking at an over here, and there's really just one reason for it, which is that Vanderbilt being out actually forces the Lakers to play what I think is a more optimal style for their roster, which is playing Rui Hachimura a ton and having LeBron. LeBron actually in this lineup kind of plays like Cleveland LeBron, where he, like, no OG Cleveland, the first stint in Cleveland. Obviously, he's not as good as he was then, but he is just your classic small forward. He doesn't initiate the possession every time on offense. D'Angelo Russell is doing a ton of that. And their lineup just makes more sense offensively because Rui can shoot 3-pointers in a way that Vanderbilt cannot. Actually, in their huge win against the Pelicans the other night, he shot 5 3-pointers, which was the second most on the team. I just think this lineup with Russell, Reeves, LeBron, AD, and Rui makes more sense than having Vanderbilt in the starting lineup. And it's also a lineup that's built to overwhelm bad teams. So I like the Lakers, and I like the over here, both the Lakers on the spread.
How about from a prop perspective? Because we saw they played back-to-back games here, but they were about 4 to 5 days ago, which is interesting. So the Lakers should come into this rested and ready. As I'm taking a look at the last games for Anthony Davis, only scoring 20 points. And you take a look at LeBron James, he only scored 21 points. So we're looking for a bounce back from those two guys. That's a high total here. What do we look at from a scoring perspective from Davis and James?
No, so the other thing that's going on with the Los Angeles Lakers right now is they are in one of those classic D'Angelo Russell is actually playing well sprees where it doesn't happen very often, and the Lakers absolutely have to take advantage of it when he's playing good. 30-28, 16-16, but in blowout wins in each of the last 2. They've won 4 in a row. I actually would not really touch their props because, like, when Russell is hot, it's like when a pitcher has a no-hitter. Like, do not disrupt what is going on when we're actually getting good basketball from D'Angelo Russell.
There you go. The only game with a hit on tonight here was the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Portland Trail Blazers. That's a heavy favorite here for the Timberwolves. That is a minus 9-point favorite there. We got one more segment to go for a Tuesday edition of the Early Line. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.